Welcome to Creative Tien channel. This is Tien. Today we want to practice some neckline shaping, shoulder shaping, and shaping around the armpit. One reason stop us from knitting sweater is all the shapings, especially around the neckline, shoulder line, and around the sleeves. And this chart is based on the dimension of my 5-year-old son's sweater. And because his kid's sweater is smaller and it seems easier to knit. I modified the neckline so it's a round neckline. And for the sleeves, I have it straight here and just a little bit of shaping here. And I will have a little bit of shaping so there's a little slope around the shoulder that will make it fit much nicer. And if you're not sure, you can always draw it on a knitting graph paper and you can download it online for free. Just Google it. There are many different websites you can download. I also enlarged the graph paper because it's so tiny, it's hard to see. So I tried different sketches and come up with some shape I like. I'm going to do the holding position technique to do the shaping. One thing about this technique is that you need 2 rows for each decrease because one pass goes to left and then one pass comes back. You will see that when I show you later. So for charting, you have to take that into consideration. So for example, here I have the decrease of a few stitches and then I have 2 rows and then another decrease, another 2 rows. And it's the same here. Every decrease I have 2 passes in between. And another thing is to keep it simple, I separate the shoulder shaping and the neck shaping so you don't do it at the same time. That will be more complicated to do. So I will start the shaping around the sleeves on both sides and I will knit plain up to this area and then I will take off half of the stitch on the waist yarn or place it on a circular knitting needle and take it off the machine. You can place half of the stitches on hold too, but to keep it really simple, it's easier just take it out completely. And then after we're done one side, we can place it back and take off the other side. I'm working on LK150 knitting machine and I use worsted weight yarn. And this one is a little thick, so I use tension 9 on the carriage and also the mast tension. And I already started with a few rows of plain knitting. And according to the chart, I have 27 stitches on each side. This is the center line, so I have 27 on the left and 27 on the right. Pretending we knit from bottom up and we are at the point of shaping. There are many ways to do this. You can just decrease by transferring the stitches in, or you can do the full fashion decrease with 2 or 3 prong transfer tool, or you can use a holding position technique. And we're going to demonstrate the holding position here for the neck and for the shoulder. So for this part, I will just do a simple full fashion decrease. I'm going to just show it on one side. And first, I have 1 stitch decrease. So I use a 3-prong transferring tool, or you can use a 2-prong. Transfer the stitches 1 stitch over and place it back. It's easier to have the latch open. Place it back. So the overlapping stitches is on the 3rd stitch. It just looks nicer than directly transfer 1 stitch in. And then we will knit one row and 2 rows according to the chart. And then we'll start to do another decrease and then 2 more rows. I use the same transferring tool. 1 stitch in. Take the empty stitch to the non-working position. So we are at the row 2 and 2 more rows. And we will repeat one more time. So we are around the 4th row. We'll repeat one more time. That's a 3rd decrease. Just follow the chart. I think I have 5 times of the decrease. And I have 2 passes in between. And that completes our shaping here. You see the slope. If you use this technique, you can do it on both sides at the same time, the left and right side of the sleeves. But if you use short row, it's better to do it one side at a time. So we're actually at the row 8. I changed it a little bit, so these 2 are empty. And now we need to continue knitting those 2 rows and 3 more rows before the shaping of the neck. So we have 5 plain rows. So after the 5 rows, we are at here at row 13, and we can change the counter back to 0 and follow the chart starting from row 1. And the first row we have decreased 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually bind of 4 stitches. And I'm going to use a holding technique. So I have carriage on the left side, and the stitch I want to place on hold is on the right. And so I take the first 4 stitch to the holding position and change the rustle lever back to 1, the same as the short row. And then you better add more weight because we are going to create more rows in the middle. And then we are going to have 2 passes. The first one, and then we wrap the yarn below the needle that's closer to the center, and then knit back. So it prevents the hole forming here. And the next part we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 more stitches. We can place them on hold, and we should be on row 2. 4 more stitches. Wrap it. The next one I will have 2 stitches on hold. Wrap the yarn around the needle. Knit back. And one more time, 2 stitches on hold. And that completes our shaping for the neck. And we should be on stitch 12 here. That's a stitch 12. And the next we are going to start shaping the left side, the shoulder shaping. And it's the same idea. We are going to place hole on the left side, 2 stitches on the left side to the holding position. And we can continue. And then wrap it the same way, the first needle. Knit it back. And I'll put the weight here. And the next one is the 3 stitch and then 3 stitch wrap it. And then 3 more stitches. Wrap it. And that completes our shaping. We are at the top. We have 2 stitches left. So I will find a way to knit all the stitches and either bind off or take it off the waist yarn. And since I'm on the right side, I need to go that way. And I want to knit all the stitches here. So I will place all the needles on the right back to the C position. So the latch is slightly open. So this will knit, but the stitches on the left side will not knit. Now we only have the stitches on the left side. And the easiest way is to place the Russell lever back to the plain knitting position, so you will need a holding position. So I can have all the stitches back to the normal knitting position. And now you are ready to bind off or take it off waist yarn. I'm going to place on waist yarn and just show you what we did. So this is what it looks like after I take it off machine and give it a steam. So you can see here is the neckline shaping, and that's my chart, and that's the shoulder shaping. There's a little slope here, and that's the sleeve. This part is straight and I just have a little bit slope here. That's a full fashioned decrease. Now we know how to do the shaping, we can work on other part of the sweater. Thank you for watching today and see you next week.